Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo!
So welcome everybody to the Age of Arcanum.
Ooh.
We are starting here in the city of Stormhaven, on the south-ish eastern coast of Asilra. And we are starting in the we're here. We're on the map here. Map is too big. I have to zoom out. We are starting here at the Luvenhelm estate. So to start out, I'll move you guys. We'll move us to the actual estate. And we'll start with having just finished a rather terse conversation with the patriarch of the Luvenhelm family, Marcus, where all of you have decided that you are going to go out and, for lack of a better word, go adventuring to see what you can find about the illness that has befallen Rhea Luvenhelm. Marcus is sort of simultaneously pleased and sort of grateful that you are willing to do this, but he's also a little upset that, considering one of his children is now in some sort of strange, cursed dream sleep that nobody knows anything about, and that two of his daughters are now going to go out adventuring and putting themselves in danger to save a third. So he's not exactly pleased about that, but considering the fact that these are adult daughters, he can't really do a whole lot about it except be mad.
You
So
can
that's
beat
kind
them
of
up.
yeah. I mean, he can fight. He was a fighter, but he's getting a little bit advanced in age at this point. But that's kind of where we're going to leave that, because I didn't really want to start the campaign with an argument. So we'll just kind of skip past the argument, and we'll say that you've had that conversation. Again, he is grateful for the fact that you're willing to do this, but still a little bit salty about the prospect that he could lose more daughters. Um, so he acknowledges that there's not anything that he can do about it, and then he's going to kind of go off to leave you all. And you're all there together so that you can have the discussion about what it is that you would like to do next, and also your friend Archmage Dresden is also in the room, feeling a little bit awkward, considering that there was this conversation that was not really uh, involved. He was not involved with, but kind of had to sit there and listen to people. You know how it is when you're sitting there at a conversation. You're just sitting and hearing people argue with each other, and you're not really part of the conversation. It's a little bit weird. So that's kind of where we'll be. If you finish this conversation, you all now have the opportunity to decide what you'd like to do next. Dresden actually prepares to leave, and he will actually come over here, kind of in front of everybody. But Dresden himself is he's not a particularly tall man, just under 6 feet, probably like 5'10" ish. But he has a commanding presence. He does actually speak very softly, very calmly. You never see him. He's very different from Marcus. He was not going to be raising his voice and screaming at anybody. But he asks, "Well, excuse me, everyone. I think that it's about time I take my leave, but I would ask that you all meet me later in the Dragon's Breath Tavern. There are a few things that I'd like to discuss further, and it may be advantageous for us to not have that conversation here." And he kind of makes a formal bow, and he also heads out, leaving you all. And again, you guys know each other. At least mostly. I think we did. Rob, you had sort of you had logged off before we had the discussion, but you were probably the most uh, new to the group, or
Yes,
the
the guy from a different realm of existence.
that just kind of showed up and was like, "Yeah, let me help." So yeah. So basically, at this point, you're free to have discussions. You're free to do what you need to do. You have some time if you choose to go and meet with Dresden later on this evening. It's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, speaking of 4 o'clock in the afternoon, um, we are also starting. We're going to use today's date as the date that we're starting the the campaign as well. So let me. So 1021, which is the 21st day of Quersar in 175 BD. Before diversions, I would have
I'm
said,
assuming we're not going to be talking much about years because it wouldn't make sense for us to say we're in 175 BD, right?
yeah, you guys wouldn't call it that. I don't know what we would like. This is more of a, just the same way as that we would say it's like, 35 BC.
Yeah.
In ancient Rome, they
What
didn't
did they
call it
call it
that.
back then?
Yeah,
All right.
because you obviously because you're it's counting down to the divergence, and your character's not aware that the divergence is going to happen. So
If
So
I'm remembering right, most historical documents just have it in like year of the Empire XXX.
yeah, year of our Lord, whatever, whatever. But yeah. And there were various different calendars as well. I mean, obviously there was the Roman calendar, and there's a Jewish calendar, and there's an Arabic calendar, and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to do the extra work of creating another. It's already confusing enough to like try and figure out what time it is because we're, you know, not in the time of the other like of the official campaign. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna do this. But for our purposes, the in game, the dates and the months we will use. It is October the 21st, even though there is no December. There's only 11 months, but it's still the 10th month, 21st day, which is a Sunday.
Well, apart from meeting the Archmage at the tavern later on, is there anywhere else we can possibly go to sign up to, like an adventurers guild? Because generally those type of places have money or access to information.
I knew it. Surrounded by nerds, just like you, eh, kid?
I'm actually 200 years old.
Signe would actually be ribbing her sister. But yeah, it's just kind of like a lot of you.
Yep, Ragnar would just glance up with a look.
Intellectuals. Ah, why don't you just start solving more things with your fist? But curses and crap.
You can't really punch out her nightmares, can you? Perhaps going to the library is a good idea?
I don't know. Hey, Dream Wizard, you can send me in a nightmare, right?
Well, it doesn't quite work like that. Um, it requires a lot of magic to do a thing like that, and it takes a long time to build that up.
How many roots you need to chew?
It's not really a roots problem, it's more of a gathering enough like magical energies to do it.
And where do you get that?
Well, bodies naturally accumulate that over time, but I spent a lot of it coming over from the Feywild.
Alright, so I think we go meet Uncle over at the tavern and do whatever, eh, here?
yes, he will probably have some direction to point us in.
More interested why he doesn't want Pops to hear it.
Well, judge the argument you had before, it was probably to keep him from having a heart attack or a stroke.
As in, probably dangerous.
Ha! Something small like that ain't gonna take Dad out.
I think he was more worried about you two.
Well, I mean, I could take care of myself. This one here is a little thin, though. And she throws her arm around you and gives you a little squeeze.
I think I'll be fine.
I'm sure we will see who can take care of themselves soon enough. And I will start to make my way out.
And some of you would be able to answer the question that Arvid had, which, I mean, the most there is, you could probably sign up to like for official recognition as an adventuring party with the city council essentially, but there isn't really a like sort of a catch-all guild hall where you would go to like do that type of thing. There are the two closest things to like adventuring factions in Stormhaven would be the Protectorate and the Magistari, and they're not really like not your they're larger groups. So that you would have smaller people that are, I guess, smaller parties connected to those larger groups that would sometimes go out adventuring. Neither of them have, well, I guess that both of them have sort of pros and cons to them. They you know, depending on who you talk to, they have good or bad reputations, I guess.
Well, luckily for me, I've not been on this plane for quite a while, so these organisations don't really mean much to me. So I'll probably be asking the lot of you to, well, point these small things out.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely do that. And perhaps getting small jobs would be a good idea. We don't know where our search is going to take us. Having extra gold would be beneficial for travel.
Well, it's not just that. Generally, back where I'm from, if you do jobs for people, sometimes it's favours or pieces of information that don't seem important, but can help you in the long run. Just the small things.
You're from a kid's storybook? Nah, man. Listen, the only thing I'm curious about is how to fix my sister. Let's get on it.
Well, you mock these children's stories and like legends and myths, but everything's based on a sliver of fact.
The only legend I know around here is my granddaddy. That's all we need to know.
Well, okay, bit.
Don't worry, I know quite a bit.
Well, that's good to know.
And asking around taverns like the one that you'll end up at is also the usual D&D trope of places to find jobs by asking around, so you can always do that as well. So I'm just going to move everybody over there to the Dragonfire Tavern.
I think you mean a thwacking stick.
You should all be at the lower right-hand side of the map.
Yep.
Yes.
And let me change the music to some tavern music.
Nope.
I just need to see how long I can continue a soft Scottish accent.
So the first room that you enter is obviously the coat room. So it's cold. It's the end of October. So or as cold as it gets in this particular region of the world. You can see that standing near the door is the bouncer, Grom, who is a very large, intimidating Goliath. But he's not stopping people from coming in. He's just keeping an eye on everybody to make sure that they don't do anything stupid. I will tell you, if you do choose that you wanted to, ask around for things, anyone who has a bluish token around them, those are just pre-generated characters from other modules that I dragged in here. So they're just here to fill up the space. They're not actual, people you'd want to talk to, just as a
Okay.
frame of reference. If they don't have the blue things, then they're people that are actually and there's one exception. There's one up here who is just the commoner token. And she's not important either, but everybody else actually has a name, and you could talk to them. And you pretty readily see where Dresden is. He is on the second floor, sitting by himself in the corner.
Ragnar nicely puts her coat up.
Yeah, I'll hang my cloak up then.
And it's lively. There are bards playing music, and it's kind of loud because there's a fair number of people in here. And Ryan's character just jumped up the stairs onto the second floor balcony.
Oh wait.
I can teleport.
There are stairs over here, all right? Follow the rules. No.
Hey,
It's-
Grom,
it's one of the-
Dresden come in today?
Over there. Usual place.
Thanks, man.
God, you guys don't know his usual place?
And this is a somewhat upscale tavern, and it is just a tavern. There is no rooms to rent or anything like that. There's food. You actually can't see the kitchen because it's blocked off on the side. But as a good bar would be, you wouldn't see the kitchen, right? So, and the bar is very far away from where you are. It's up at the top of the map there, but there are waiters there and a waitress that could come by and look, here's Frederick, the waiter, who comes by and asks, yes, what is it that I can get all of you?
Just wine for me would be great, thank you.
Right?
Nice mead.
I'll just wave a dismissory hand.
In that case, 2 meads.
You primitive beings in your need for liquid.
What would you recommend? I've not really had a lot of things since I've been here.
Bring in the fire wine.
All right. So, is there anything else that anybody wants?
William will just turn and also say, "Wine, please."
Would you, considering the size of would you just like me to bring the bottle?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
I think
please.
so. Please.
He just sort of makes a quick bow, and he heads off. And then you guys can chit chat. We'll say you chit chat for just a little pleasantries, and then he comes back and brings you a bottle of wine and a mead. Well, 2 meads. And Dresden already has a drink.
Well, thank you very much for the drinks.
So, I'm glad that you've all arrived. It's, well, it's difficult to discuss some of the things around Marcus, and it just seemed better to have a discussion in a public place. I also get the feeling that there are people watching the estate.
Ice? And she immediately looks at William.
Yeah,
Come on,
he
Dustin, you
has a
know
very
how it is.
serious look on his face.
Anyone with power just breaking into the noble class is gonna have eyes on them. You know that as well as anyone.
Well, it's get the feeling that the other day when I was leaving, I had eyes on me, but it may be nothing. So, the reason that I brought you here is that I've done a little bit of research. Obviously, as you know, the Nexus has a very, how to say, it's a good library. We'll put it that way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything specifically related to Rhea's illness, but I did find something interesting. A person, in fact. Um, there was a wizard years ago, almost 50 years ago, uh, well known for researching ancient magics, uh, witchcraft, and things like that. Apparently, she would carry, in addition to her spell book, she was rumored to have always had a book on her specifically related to her research, essentially. Now, the bad news is, uh, obviously, it was 50 years ago that the information was discussing her, so I did a little more research about that as well. She was in an adventuring party of some kind, and she disappeared. But I did discover that with, I'll call it 75% accuracy, maybe, where she was going when she disappeared. And unfortunately, her adventuring party also never came back from where they went. They were researching a small dwarven temple that was built into the side of a mountain. She was specifically looking for something that was called the Evergreen Emerald. Now, I don't know exactly what the purpose of the search was or anything about this particular emerald, but I do have a general location where you could look, and he pulls out a map, and I will really quickly just move us over to the silver map. And it is right here. So we'll put a little dot there. So it is from Storehaven, roughly 310 miles away, at the base of the Spire Mountains. And he says, so that's kind of where I would suggest that you start looking. Ideally, you could find the book. Uh, Most people would probably not find a book of that kind to be particularly useful or worth a lot of money. So the hope is that if she went to this place and met her untimely demise, that the book might still be there. And again, I'm not sure 100% that this is exactly where this temple may be or what you might find there, but it is the best that I have been able to come up with.
Um, when you mentioned the Evergreen Emerald,
Yes.
does that ring a bell with anyone?
You guys could do Arcana or History checks if you would like. First rolls of the game.
Yeah, they're both the same for me.
Yeah, I've both got a 1, so I'll probably go history. No shit, I've still got to turn off guidance. Ah, screw it, I can guide myself. That's a 14.
Nice.
Ignis smarter than Ragnar.
You were
Harry,
very
you are
quiet
very
then.
quiet. Yeah, very quiet.
Okay. Let me see if I can fix that.
Oh god, okay, let me fix what I did. I just turned you way up on my end.
Your ears are about to get blasted.
How are things now?
Still pretty quiet.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. If you want, just if anyone wants to right click on her, you can turn her up yourself.
Yeah.
Talk real quick, Tara.
Hello?
I have her at like 125, and she's still kind of low.
Yeah, I've got her at 150.
I assume I just moved the output volume up and down.
I put her at 200 and I could hear her.
Have you gone into your voice settings in Discord?
Yeah, voice settings and then output device. I just turned the output volume way up.
No, output is what you hear coming out, isn't it?
Oh,
I
okay.
believe input volume goes into your microphone.
Input's already way up.
My input's at 88% and my output's at like 95%.
Yeah.
You were fine when we started. What did you do?
Switch
Change computers.
Switch
Oh.
computers.
Yeah, my
missed
input's
that
at
part.
100 and my output's at 100.
Yeah.
And my input's at 70 and output's at 109.
Oh, you're fine. We'll manage for the game, right?
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Like I could hear you now that I turned you up.
Okay.
It's just gonna suck whenever you're on your laptop and you come in.
So we're all gonna be like, "Oh my god!"
Well, at this point, if my laptop can't handle dynamic lighting, then I might as well just keep using my computer.
True.
Yeah, I do the same thing. My laptop is, well, as a DM anyway. I always like to have multiple screens, but yeah, my laptop can't. My desktop even struggles with dynamic lighting sometimes because Roll20 is the least optimized website on the face of the earth.
My laptop used to be fine. I used to play all our games on it. And
Well, that was, now we have the new dynamic lighting though.
It's the new dynamic lighting. Wow, so fancy, so strong.
And also there is actually a
computer
fair
crash
amount
everything.
of there's also a fair amount of stuff going on in here because it's not just dynamic lighting. I also add all of the light sources. There are a crap ton of light sources in this room. So like the fire and all of the candles and stuff. Like if I move this away, you can see that like. So there's a lot of light because otherwise, like that's the only bad part about like when you use dynamic lighting indoors, you need all these light sources because it's literally just pitch black otherwise, and it's like that doesn't look even remotely realistic because there wouldn't be just one tiny spot in the middle of the room that's just pitch black.
Yep.
But
copy and paste a lot of light sources.
Yeah, so that might also be the problem is because there's a whole lot of crap going on this particular map. So.
No, I know even from when I've been making dynamic lighting for my own maps, this stuff, it still struggles.
Yeah.
Just clicking the dynamic lighting on button makes it struggle, so it's just, I assume, the new dynamic lighting.
Probably. So with all of your high rolls, except for Ragna, it is actually not anything that sounds particularly familiar. It is not, as far as you know, it is not a famous stone.
Ragnar will also ask, do you know what religion or deity the Dwarven Temple is associated with?
Well, it didn't say anything in any of the research I did, but I mean, I would assume it's the Allhammer because that, and he sort of like you can see that he blushes a little bit. I don't mean to generalize dwarves, but that does tend to be the deity of choice.
Yeah, she nodded and just said, "It's why I wanted to ask. I didn't want to assume."
It's possible that it's not. I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say that 50 years ago is ancient religions, but it's built into the side of a mountain, which just seems to be something that would make sense for Moradin.
Well, is there like a dwarven community in the city?
Not anything specific, no. I mean, there are dwarves that live here, but they don't have a section of town or anything.
Oh, well, okay. I thought maybe
They-
if we could ask, say, dwarven experts, they may hold some kind of insight.
There's they kind of have a little section where they sell stuff. I wouldn't necessarily call it a community, but they have a market space.
I believe there's also the Temple of the Allhammer.
Yeah, you could try there.
They might know something about an old temple.
You say that she was going to this dwarven temple. Is this where this gem was?
Well, according to what I've found, and he pulls out some notes, and you can see that like um, these are mostly, from what I can gather, notes that she herself had left. Um, she seems to have had some association to the Nexus, but not. She wasn't a teacher. She may have just gone there to do research. I haven't really asked around about it because I didn't really want anyone to know what I was looking at. Are probably some people. Well, there are certainly some people that would have been there 50 years ago, but I myself have not been here that long. And the notes basically are describing that the dwarves had mined this particular stone, and she believed it to have magical healing abilities, which is why she was interested in. I also could give you. It'd be helpful maybe if I gave you her name. Where are my notes? Name is Katarina Mir, or maybe more appropriately, her name was Katarina Mir. And it's difficult to determine sort of the level of wizardry she was capable of, but again, not to disparage anyone, but from what can gather, the area that they were going to is not, I mean, not particularly dangerous. The Rethalar Forest is, it's depending on your area. I mean, it's got wolves and spiders and things, but nothing that I've ever seen to be extremely dangerous. And for an entire adventuring party to die is somewhat worrying, and I'm not sure if that means that they ran into something terrible or if they were just not particularly skilled.
Don't worry, I'm my father's daughter. Everyone here will come back alive.
Ragna just pats Signe on his arm.
Well, it may be more of a case of finding something unexpected which finished their journey. So I probably wouldn't be too hasty.
Hasty? No. Absolutely not. You think all these weapons are just for show?
So, if you're all willing to trek out there, um, I suppose if you're interested, you could also attempt to look for this stone, as her notes mention that she was believed it to have some sort of healing properties. But for my money, I think that looking for her research or spell book even would be more useful to what we're trying to accomplish than pinning our hopes on some random stone.
Well, it's more of a case of if we can find anything fantastic, but it's dependent considering it's been 50 years. And, well, they all apparently died. It's possible those items could have been destroyed.
Yeah, it is certainly a possibility. But it's really the only lead that I've been able to find in the Nexus, and again, our hope would be that, I mean, maybe her spell book would be taken if bandits came along or looters or what have you, but can't imagine that a research book would be of particular interest to thieves. And
Yeah,
depending on
Uncle,
the
you've done
situation,
great work. You've given us the direction to start in, and that's more than we had. Thank you.
I wish I could do more, but if there's anything that you need for your journey, um, just let me know and I can get you set up. And he's obviously paying for your drinks as well. He's not a poor man.
Just make sure your daughter doesn't spend too much time in the manor, okay?
Well, she's been a little distant as of late. Feels that she's doesn't really like to see Rhea in that condition, so she may not visit quite as often as she has been. And I understand.
No, yes, completely understandable.
Just make sure she gets her regular meals.
Well, he takes a drink. He was drinking some kind of expensive whiskey or something. Is there any questions that you may have? If not, I'll take my leave. And as I said, before you leave, just let me know if there's anything that you need to prepare for your journey, and I'll take care of it.
Can do.
Of course.
I forgot if we asked, do we know what caused the onset of this?
Nope.
Okay, sorry. I guess and we're sure that the girls weren't doing anything, weren't messing with any magics they didn't understand when this was onset.
Well, Neela claims that nothing of the sort happened, but you know how children are.
Well, there's only one thing I'd really ask, and considering I'm still trying to readjust myself to the now, if you can find any information in your school, your library, about ornamency or sources of it on this plane, that'd be helpful for me.
I can do that.
Thank you. I'm obviously not the same type of magic as you, but learning from sources does tend to help one's knowledge.
Always happy to assist those that are interested in learning more.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions for him?
I'm good.
Nah. Anything we can talk about in the secret lab later.
Right. Well, he will take his leave yet again.
Trying to say the word ornamency in a Scottish accent was difficult.
Well, it's weird because like I've heard it pronounced two different ways. I've heard it pronounced oniromancy and oniromancy. The way that it's spelled, I prefer near just because it's how you pronounce the video game that's spelled that way, near. But yeah, I don't think that there's an official language or a pronunciation for it because it's obviously not a real thing.
No, it's just trying to do it in the accent. It's a difficult part.
Yeah. So you are now left with your bottle of wine, and free to do what you would like until you decide to head out. And decide also, looking at the map, as he would have left the map for you, obviously. And like I said, it would probably take you about, let's see, what was it, 310 miles, roughly?
Yeah.
So it's going to take you about 13 days to get there, roughly.
That's also not counting if we're going through the forest.
Correct.
Although looking at the map before, like I'm sure, I mean, we still have it in front of us. Would it probably be faster if we walked up like the outskirts of the forest and then went in at the mountain range? If we instead took like a path like up this way and then even cut in here.
One of those up to like it distance wise, obviously longer, but speed wise, hard to say.
Well, since we're looking at, does the map have like all the stuff on it? Does it say like Brightdale's there and stuff?
It probably has most of this, yeah.
Okay, then I'll look around to everyone. Arvid, you were saying about picking up jobs. Perhaps we can find something from Stormhaven to Brightdale.
Well, yes, it sounds like something we could do. I think we probably want to stop in at the Temple of Moradin first, but yeah, I don't see much of an issue with that. I don't know where you'd
Stopping at
look for those type of jobs here.
Stopping at Brightdale would also give us an opportunity to restock and see if there's anything there that we can get paid for in the forest while we're there.
Does anyone have any contacts with anyone from Brightdale?
I do not.
No, I don't.
Everybody probably except Arvid. I guess just do a intelligence.
Yeah, person from a different plane of existence. Do you know someone from this random hobbit town?
I mean, I may have a couple soldiers from there.
It's not. You guys would know that, like, Brightdale doesn't really. I don't want to say that it's not welcoming, but they don't have a lot of people that are not halflings actually go into Brightdale. They are pretty self-sufficient, so they don't do a ton of trading. The trading that they do is usually from things off of Isilra, things that they can't get or make themselves. And generally, there's a go-between. There is usually a camp of some kind that's set up outside of Brightdale that people will take goods to, and then those very few people that they've allowed to sort of like uh, you know, work with them will then sort of take it in and make the trades and those kind of things. So you often don't really get to go to Brightdale itself, because they do like to sort of keep that idyllic Hobbiton space, so they don't want people from outside coming in and trampling on things. And a lot of the is that, I mean, it's not built for anyone but dwarves or halflings or gnomes, because I mean all of you would be, I mean,
Monstrous there.
right, and you've seen Lord of the Rings, so you know you see Gandalf banging his head on everything, and it's like that. So it's and again, it's not so much that they're being unwelcome. It's just that they like to keep to themselves. They like to, you know, keep to their own way of life, and it's one of those. The belief is that if you open it up to one person, then you open it up to a ton of people, and then everything sort of just falls apart. Like, they don't want to be a tourist attraction, and they don't want people from the outside coming in and changing the way that they have decided to live. So
In that case, is that even somewhere we would be able to resupply?
possibly, again, like, they do have like outposts essentially that are not actually run by the halflings themselves.
But I mean, I also imagine if they've got any trouble from the nearby area, they would also probably post some sort of bounty board or jobs board at these outposts, right?
A lot of the things that they sort of import are like tobacco from outside of Isilra. They are fond of their tobacco, pipe weed, and foods that they, uh, you know, exotic foods and things like that.
Still worth looking to see if we could get something to go up there.
And the reason that you guys would be aware of this, so Signa, Ragna, and William, is that there is a fair amount of imports that come through Stormhaven. So you would be aware there are things that are bound for Brightdale that come through Stormhaven. So that you would likely be able to find caravans that are going there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how dangerous is the trip? Like, is it likely that we could find a job to escort caravans, or no?
Probably, you probably could. The road is it's not completely safe, but it's one of the safer routes, because there is a fairly established road between the two, and actually it sort of goes through Brightdale and then goes up towards Avangora.
Okay. Well, bandits love populated roads, right?
Anywhere they can extract a toll.
And you're generally better off trying to stay in the middle of this valley, basically, because obviously the closer that you get to the forest, or the closer you get to the mountains, the more dangerous it is.
Okay.
Because you're, at the very least, you're less likely to run into wildlife if you're out in the open, because this is mostly plains. It's hilly, but it's not. There's not a ton of trees that, you know, creatures would hide in.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't a ton of dangerous plains animals. Buffaloes would be the. I'm not saying that they're buffaloes here, but I'm just trying to think of animals that could be dangerous that are out on the plains.
Horses. Horses can
wol-
be dangerous.
wolves are sometimes out there, but
So, if there's nothing else, I'll meet you guys at the manor in the morning.
Well, if Ragnar could possibly take myself and herself to the dwarves, who could probably inquire, and other people could inquire about jobs.
Yeah, I don't mind taking you to the temple and to the dwarven market.
I can probably do well at finding a job.
Very well.
I don't know where everyone else would like to go. So I'm not trying to presume.
I would just need to gather my things before we leave.
Well, okay.
Dealing with imports and exports, I'll be heading to the docks.
What about you, Signe? Any idea where you wish to go?
I prefer to just stay home. Shopping's kind of boring.
And we already know you don't like going to such a quiet temple. Not that they're that quiet, but less rowdy than courts.
You also said that there was like a mercenary guild we could go to for jobs, right?
no,
Oh no.
there's not one of those really.
Oh, okay.
There are places that you could go to essentially register yourselves as an adventuring party, which comes with some small benefits within the city, but nothing spectacular.
Shall we then?
William will finish up his glass of wine, put it on the table, and start heading out.
Right, move you back to Stormhaven.
And Matt, I would like to make a concerted effort to, once I'm heading back to the manor, can I just take a look around and see if there are any people around watching?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So we'll do that later whenever we're all heading back there. But I want to keep my eyes out from now until then to see if I notice anything.
Yeah, I'd probably be doing the same as we walk to the dwarves, but that's not important.
I mean, if you want to just tell me I fail, I have 9 passive perception, so I won't mind. But I want to try.
16. But after you, milady, if you can lead the way.
Of course. And she finishes her wine and heads down the stairs to grab her cloak and lead Arvind to the Temple of the Allhammer.
Which is
Let me look for those no good doers.
Yeah. I think I'd like to help you track down people. See if there's any spies planted.
so the Temple of Morden is there, and then the Dwarven Market is so 16 and 7 are the things that those are the dwarven places you would go to look for dwarves, I guess.
I bet you wasn't expecting that tonight.
I don't even anticipate anything anymore.
Well, would you say we should visit the Dwarven Market or maybe the temple first?
I think the temple makes sense considering we are wanting to visit the ruins of a temple that belong to dwarves. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, very well.
I will tell you, I did not anticipate it enough to create a map for that temple, so we're not going to go anywhere. We're just going to we're just going to look at this map. But
How
I mean,
dare
to
you
be
be
fair, you could just make it
unprepared?
sound like a. You could just make it sound like a drunken tavern. It'd be the dwarves' specialty.
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the thing. A lot of these, I mean, like, there are only so many temple maps that are out there, so they're all going to be no. They may not have individuals unless we're specifically going to do something in that temple that requires tokens. Then we may kind of not have any. But yeah. So at this point, though, it is probably. I mean, it's dark outside, because obviously in October it gets dark rather quickly. But
If you wish, my lady, I could create some light. If that would help.
No needed. I can see fine in the dark.
Ah, well, I didn't know humans could see in the dark, but that's good to know.
Oh, I'm a little more than human. I've been blessed by my guardian deity.
Oh, you're one of them.
She just smiles and says, yes, white hair and light gray eyes aren't too, common amongst humans.
Well, it's always nice to see some more Asimar around. You rarely get to see them anymore.
Thank you. It is, a blessing, most certainly.
Probably feels like a little bit like a curse sometimes when people don't quite understand.
Yes, that and also just, the expectations on you.
Oh, one of those I am expecting great things from you type of expectations.
Yes. And to, essentially summon my deity is Arathis, summon her, just create a presence right beside me at all times, be able to speak with her at all times. It doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah, nothing generally works how people expect it to, so don't feel too bad about it.
I try not to.
also, I don't have the tavern that you were at marked on the map either. I'll have to do that. It's probably over here somewhere. Probably.
Roger. So
The numbering will get a little bit weird because you can see that most of the numbers are kind of in a somewhat bunched together, but it's from now on they're just going to be all over the place because I'm not going to go back and change the numbers. So anytime I add a new number,
3.5.
yeah. So like if I put it here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 36. So it is what it is. But
well, I assume as we're approaching the temple, do we see any dwarves outside of it? Any priests?
at this point, you probably don't see much outside because it is evening, after dark, and there aren't any services going on at the moment. Um, it is a Sunday evening, so the services has probably already. I mean, I don't know if they have services on Sundays. That's a Christian thing, not necessarily a Moradin thing. So I don't want to go. I don't want to say anything out of turn there, but there are no. I will say there are no current uh, services going on. Um, but the doors are usually open, and you can get into the sort of entryway. Um, you can't. You don't have. Obviously, you don't have full access to the entire temple, but they do have it. The main area open so that people can come in and pray and do all that kind of stuff. And you would see if you enter in the center of the foray, and when you walk in, there is a large statue of the Allhammer with unsurprisingly giant hammers in his hand. And looking around the rest of the temple, you can see that there are smaller sort of I guess they're kind of like little shrines where people will individually go and pray in front of one of the smaller statues themselves. And you do have some people praying at the larger one as well. But if you want a more personal discussion with Moradin, there are smaller ones available that people can go and sit at or kneel at. And you see a few people milling about. You see probably at this point there's one or two what people that dwarves that you would consider or would assume rather are priests, and they're sort of just kind of like walking around, looking at the people that are there praying, just kind of anticipating if they have any questions or if they need anything, just kind of milling about, making sure that everybody's okay.
Well, Ragnar, should we go interrogate one of these lovely priests?
Oh, yes. Well, I wouldn't call it interrogate, but I can speak Dwarvish. I can lead the conversation.
By all means.
She gives a small nod and seems to square her shoulders even more before walking up to one of the priests and just saying in Dwarvish, hello, if I could have a moment, I have a couple of questions.
And you can see the dwarf looks up and kind of little perks up a little bit, like, "Ooh, well, what can I do for you?"
Oh, well, we have heard about one of your an old dwarvish temple in the Rethlor Forest near the Udaspire Mountains. We would like to know more about it if you know anything.
Is it a former temple?
I believe so. 50 years ago or so, it seems.
You can see he kind of strokes his beard a little bit as he's thinking, "Well, I'm not familiar with it myself, but just a moment." And he heads off to the one of the back rooms. Doesn't say anything else. You just a moment, and he leaves you there.
He says just a moment. I think he's going to go get someone a bit more knowledgeable.
Well, that's quite helpful then.
And it's probably 5 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes, and about 15 minutes later, he comes back and he's holding a very large book. It's seemingly larger because he's a dwarf and sort of carrying it in both arms. And well, this is a registry here, and let's see. He's like, you can see he's just Rethlor Forest. Well, I don't see anything. And then he kind of just closes the book and looks up at you like, anything else?
Oh, no, that's all right.
Does it look like he's hiding anything?
You can roll to see if you think so.
Ragnar thinks he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I'll see if he's withholding anything. Luckily, because of being a pallid elf, I have advantage on insight checks. 12. Oh no, 19. Jesus.
You don't think that he's hiding anything. I would say with insight, you don't think that he's hiding anything, but you're not sure that he's necessarily done a whole lot of. I mean, this book is big, so I mean, you believe him. You believe that he didn't find anything, but you're pretty sure he didn't. And I mean, whether or not you think that he should have is another question. But he didn't go through that entire book to really find anything. Like, it just felt like he looked rather quickly to be able to definitively say that he didn't find anything. But he's not. You don't get the feeling that he's trying to be dishonest or trying to hide anything. You just get the idea that he's not in any way going to go through that entire book to try and find anything. If he looked, didn't find it, that's kind of it.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to be forward here. Would you mind if we had a quick look through the book?
Oh, I'm very sorry. That's out of the question. This is for the priesthood only.
Oh, that's disappointing. We were trying to gain information on this temple. So, plus if we found any artifacts there that belonged to Moradin, to try and bring them back.
Well, I'm not aware of any temple, so whatever you find is yours.
And we get that in writing.
I mean, he's not going to know one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
Do you know of anyone who focuses on dwarven history in the area?
Not really. There's not too many dwarves here, and dwarven history is probably Dathlador would be a place you'd go for something like that. Dathlador's very far away.
Yeah.
Ragnar would just kind of whisper to Arvid, that's very far.
Ah. Well, if that's the case, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. More than best you. And then he heads off to put the book away.
I suppose we market next?
Yeah, might as well. Hopefully, we'll strike some luck.
All right, so you guys can head over there. Before we head to the market, though, let's take a quick break. I need to go grab a drink. So, take like 5 minutes.
Okie
Sounds good.
Yeah, just trying to form like difficult sentences in a Scottish accent. It's going to be fun this entire campaign.
I don't know why, but I cannot stop thinking of Mrs. Doubtfire when you're talking.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
kind of similar to Robin Williams Scottish.
Well, it was a case of I really enjoyed watching the Dragon Prince, and
Okay, gotcha.
and their moon elves basically had Scottish accents. So I thought to myself, fuck it, why not?
I mean, I kind of just changed my voice inflection. I'm not great at any other voices or accents, so I kind of can't even bother trying.
Well, I mean, luckily, being English, Scottish is a relatively easy one to drop into.
Yeah, true, I guess.
It's just when you start trying to use fantasy words, you have to like stop for a second. It's like, how do I pronunciate this word in a different accent? It's like, I'd like to go to the Temple of Moradin.
Yeah, I can't even, like, I don't know. It's so difficult for me to even like try doing stuff like that.
Like, I'm shit at American accents. I know that for a fact.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with English, like, because when I think of an English accent, like, you obviously, like, there's that one American stereotypical English accent, but there's like literally hundreds of different ones that I'm sure people from over there could point out.
Yeah. I think like the two more common ones that, like say, UK and Irish people tend to emulate would be like Valley Girl, which is like, oh my god, just do it dead. And like stereotypical like Southern USA, like, so
Howdy, partner.
yeah, my name's Robert, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those trying to hold different accents for that type of shit is difficult for a long period of time.
Yeah, I like, even just when I try doing different like tones in my voice and stuff, like I always catch myself talking normally, so it's just like I just try to keep up with it.
Accents are crap. It's hard to do. I mean, again,
Agreed.
like I think we all get spoiled because coming from watching professional podcast of people with professional acting abilities,
Mhm.
and it's something that they've trained to do for literal decades. Yeah.
Speak Terror.
Hello? Is
Hey.
it different?
Not for me.
Darn it.
I mean, you sound clearer, but you still don't sound extremely loud or soft.
Darn it. Okay. I'm gonna keep playing with it slowly.
But yeah, like I said, apart from the accent, I'm specifically trying to speak in like a soft voice as well, instead of like more deeper. So that's a fun little change.
Problem with being a DM is that even if I came up with an accent, I could only probably come up with 2 or 3, and I've got to I've got to have like 4,000 people talk. So it's like
Yep.
It's difficult to even come up with it. Because the thing is too, like if I come up with one that like I'd either have to specifically pick one like, okay, I know that this NPC is going to be important, and also I'll give them a voice, because otherwise, because I have such a limited range, if I gave one to just some random dude, you all would assume it was someone important.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, accents and that stuff aren't important at all, as long as you enjoy doing like talking with your character. Like I said, accents just mean nothing.
I mean, I wish I could do them because I think it would be helpful, but I also don't want to distract from what I want the character to be saying by sounding like an idiot, or you know what I mean. Like, you all would be like either just chuckling or even just thinking like, "Wow, that's weird," or whatever, maybe just and not paying attention to what they're saying because you're listening to my poor attempt at some, accent. But
Hey, dude,
anyway,
you've heard my terrible American accents.
So you head to the market. Doesn't take too long, just around the block essentially. Um, there aren't a whole lot of people at the market right now either, because again, it's evening. Um, and surprisingly, like there are this. It really is just sort of a market stalls and everything like that. It's not. There aren't a lot of shops surrounding these, so you see wherever the shops actually are, the goods are brought here for sale. So you don't hear like there's not like the blacksmith shop isn't actually in this area, but like you would see like stalls for weapons and armor. That
Well, how would you suggest talking to a random assortment of dwarfs, Ragnar?
Perhaps going to one of the what appears to be one of the more notable market owners. They're well connected.
That was that was super quiet.
Darn it. Turn those back on then. But yeah, she just wants.
I heard what you said, but you were just very quiet.
Yeah, I was playing around with the settings. I'm just gonna turn what I turned off back to get it back for.
Going to the larger, more reputable looking places.
Yeah.
Answer.
Well, let's hope it pays off, because at this time of night, it seems like most people have gone.
Well, hopefully. Doesn't hurt to try at least.
Agreed. Shall we?
Yes. And Ragna's gonna try to find a reputable dwarven market owner, merchant, and will ask in Dwarvish if they knew about kind of dwarven history and old temples.
And just
Or-
to,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, you could probably go around and ask a few people, of which most of them would either state that they're not particularly religious, or have no real notion that. I mean, they've lived in Stormhaven most of their lives and don't about temples.
Unfortunately, this seems to be a dead end.
Could you ask them if there's like an elder of their community? I doubt there is, but it's probably like the last thing I could think of.
Of course. And Ragna will go to maybe like 2 or 3 more people and ask in Dwarvish if they have like a elder who might know of these things.
There really isn't. The dwarven community here is not particularly connected to each other. So there really isn't like someone who represents them, or anyone that they would like go to as an elder, or someone who has a lot of specific knowledge towards dwarves.
She would have just thanked each of them for their time.
There's the dwarves probably make up less than 1% of the population here, Stormhaven. So it's
Well,
mostly humans and elves that live here, and mostly human.
well, sorry, this took so long. It's turned out to be rather unfruitful.
It's okay. At least we tried.
Yeah, but did feel like a little bit of a waste, but these things happen.
Do you have a place to stay? Would you like to stay at the Levenhelm estate tonight?
Please, if possible. I've still not quite adjusted to this city yet.
Of course. Osmond's room should be free. He's my elder brother.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'll meet you guys at the estate in the morning then.
Where the bloody hell did you turn up from?
So, wait, sorry, I thought we were all, like, together at this point.
No, we
Did we-
separated.
Oh, gee, sorry, fuck. I thought I was with, I thought I was with Mike and Tara, and for some reason I thought we were at the temple and then the market with you guys.
No, Rob was with Tara at the temple.
Oh god, sorry. Where's my token?
There are no tokens on this map. They're too big.
I have I've got, like, bubbles showing up for tokens. I don't know if you guys got that. Anywho, sorry, I'll step out.
Well, we can now jump to Signa and William, as they are. We're both looking for jobs and looking for spies, whispers in the dark.
Sounds good to me. I mean, since I've been around this city, I would assume the docks are a good place to search for jobs of like, you know, transporting caravans, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Or is there like a trade sector that handles that more?
I mean, the docks are pretty good. The only other place, so the fens up here. So this is a rather interesting sort of place. It's obviously slightly outside the city, and the fens are really, I guess they're not really permanent residents that are there. This is actually where a lot of the caravans leave from, and so a lot of the housing and things like that are sort of dodgy lodgings for people. So it's not really like people that are coming to Stormhaven don't usually stay there. The people that stay there are the caravan drivers and the people that are caravan guards and things like that. So they'll hang out in this little area in the fens until somebody needs their services. Like, oh, you don't have a cart, you need a cart, you know. So, you know, that's really what that general area
Gotcha.
is, and it's also, it's not the nicest place. There are less than savory people sometimes that hang out there.
Signa will protect you.
I wouldn't care about that, honestly. Yeah, so I will head to. Well, before I start heading out, can I like, as like we're all leaving the tavern, can I kind of just like look around?
Yep.
See if I have anyone spotting. My perception is awful, so
It's not bad with a -1.
it's not. I'll take it.
As you're walking around and walking towards the to the docks, and obviously like so this general area down here is going to be where you would be
Ah,
going to, which is not that far away from the estate, which is here. So you can kind of like go down the road towards the estate on your way there. You don't spot anything super like you don't spot anything that like looks like people are like following you or anything like that. You do, as you're making an attempt, you do see some like less than savory people milling about, but they don't. You don't see them specifically trying to like watch you or anything like that. But
So they
since
might
you're
just be unsavory for someone else, not for us.
yeah, I mean, and you notice them more so because you're specifically looking, but
Okay.
those people obviously are it's a big city. There's gonna be people like
Mhm.
that,
Okay.
and there are thieves guilds and assassins guilds in the city, so you know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then yeah, I will just continue heading towards the docks. Um, just go down and I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna go down and see if I could find anyone who is in charge of any sort of caravans heading out within the next day or so.
Yeah, it's easy enough. There is actually a man named Charles Blackwater that will offer you a job um, transporting goods to the outpost around Brightdale, and tells you it's a standard job. Um, it's going to be transporting tobacco and various goods. Uh, doesn't really seem like, as we were discussing less than savory characters, he strikes you as one of those as well. Um,
Do I
not
notice
even
any thieves markings on him or anything like that? Any tattoos or anything?
no, I mean you get he looks like he himself is he would have tattoos that would signify that he's at least at some point in his life been a sailor.
Okay.
Um, and you can I mean, if you want, you can make a uh, insight check. You don't even without an insight check, you don't necessarily get the idea that he's being uh, shady towards you or anything, or he's not trying to like hoodwink you or anything.
He just fits
Um,
the bill.
he just he just he just
Okay.
he's kind of like I said, just a little less than savory.
Alright,
You wouldn't be friends with this man probably.
alright. I will ask. Is it a caravan or is it stuff we'll be carrying ourselves?
Got mules in a cart that can carry the goods. You just got to make sure that it gets there safe.
Alright. And it will return by itself. We have some business to take care of in that area.
We've got people at the outpost that can bring it back.
Very good. I can't promise you anything. I'm just the one looking for employment. I can go bring it to the others. And where can I meet you in the morning? I'm assuming this is going to be acceptable.
I'll be here.
All right. I'll
And
nod.
it would be 5 gold a piece,
Hmm,
considering however many of you there are.
Yep. All right, I'll nod and well, see you early then, and I will head on out. Um, and yeah, on my way back, I want to just do like a lap around the estate and just see if there's any sort of thieves' cant markings or anything like that in the vicinity.
Yep. Do the investigation check.
Investigation, I am much better at, but that means I'll probably roll shit on it. Yeah, the same as a -1.
You don't find any markings for thieves' cant or anything like that. I would say that you do notice up on some of the buildings in the area, you notice birds, black birds. Can't tell what they are. You would guess they're probably crows based on their size, which is not entirely weird. You only found it weird just because they were sitting up there making noise. Just somewhat weird because crows are not. And actually, I may be wrong about this. I don't believe that crows are nocturnal.
I don't think they are either, actually.
So the
Where's
fact
our
that
bird expert,
you, yeah,
Tara?
Tara, are crows night? I don't think they're night birds.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fact that you hear some crows
Very
cawing,
strange.
it's a little weird.
Okay. I'll take note of it, like which buildings it is and such, and after I've done my round, just head back to the estate.
There are not enough of them to be considered a murder of crows, but there's probably 2 or 3 of them.
Like a homicide instead.
Yes.
All
A
right.
manslaughter of
Yes.
crows.
All right. So, I believe Johan, you were not going back there. You were going to meet us there in the morning, correct? I'm just trying to
Oh,
figure out
yeah.
who would have been there when I got back.
Yeah, no, I would have, well, I would have gone with you guys to look for work, and then after we found something, I would have gone back to my own place to gather my things.
Okay. All right. Well, then, yeah, you would have heard all about the job and stuff, and we're going to meet him in the morning as well.
Yeah, so then I would meet you guys there.
Okay. So would Arvid and Ragnar be back by the time I got back?
Yeah, probably.
And Signa, you were with me as well, right?
No, I went back to the estate and I was
Okay.
peeking around, seeing if there was anyone trying to implant themselves in the staff or, you know.
Okay. Well, since Signa was the one to show interest in it, I'll find her when I get back, and I'll just Miss, I did a bit of a scouting mission around the area. I did see a few people that didn't look like they were up to the best of activities, but didn't seem to show any interest in myself or the estate. Um, there were some birds around that were out of place, but I can't say anything for sure. But I didn't find anything. Did you come up with anything on your end?
I didn't actually roll for it. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to roll?
If you were specifically looking for like unsavory people or anybody that's trying to like work their way into the employ of the family, there would be nobody. So
What? One more time? I didn't hit the last word.
So
Sorry.
if you were looking for people that were trying to get their way into employ with the family, there's no one like that. So
Okay, and there was nothing, no one hanging, loitering around the outer walls or anything?
Nope.
Yeah. So, nah, nothing here. Doesn't mean I won't keep looking, though.
Agreed. Well,
there's also the possibility that that your friend Dresden is just paranoid. Just throwing that out there too.
right up my alley, honestly. I'll just look around now and say, oh, I'll continue to look as well. But in a bit of better news, I do believe I have a job for us to head up to Brightdale. If everyone else is willing to accept it, it's not the most pay, but it is still something to go.
Hey, that a boy.
Well,
And then I will. Ooh, and then, yeah, then I'll just go like wait in like a common area where everyone else would like eventually come back to.
So this is the break for the break room for the for the employees. If you want that would be a place that you could go. Obviously this is the sort of the lounge area as well. So
Yeah, I would have been down in here then.
well, it's getting late. We should probably see if William's found a job or not, and probably try and get some sleep.
Oh, of course, yes. I can lead us to where he should be.
Thank you.
Shuffle up and around.
It appears my token cannot actually leave rooms or enter them.
The doors work.
Yeah, you have to drag them through the doors.
wait a minute, it shouldn't have any
No, yeah, the walls you
Oh,
cannot drag
made
through.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
that's weird.
Oh, I was trapped for a while, so I just deleted my.
And you got
Okay,
bigger.
thank
Look
you.
at you're fucking raging.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if it lets you do it now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, we're good now.
So that's weird because it had restrict movement on, but there's no dynamic lighting on. So I don't know why it would have like anticipated that. But yeah, you just took enlarged potion.
Well, once everyone else enters, I'll stand up and I'll like nod towards Arvid and just Lady Ragna and like bow.
Well, William, did you find anything interesting?
Job wise, yes. People looking to spy on the family, no. But yes, we do have a work opportunity for heading up to Brightdale. A man named Charles Blackwater is sending out a caravan over the next couple of days, I believe tomorrow morning actually. Willing to pay each of us 5 gold apiece to make sure it gets to the outpost safely.
Well, at least it gives us something to do on the way.
Also keeps us out of the forest, which I'm very happy for.
There's nothing wrong with the forests.
Trying to travel over 300 miles straight through forest, that could be a bit of a problem.
Just gives you longer to appreciate the journey.
He'll nod. But he'll just kind of, once again, look to Ragnar and just say, Lady Ragnar, I did not want to accept the job on behalf of you or your sister, so I told him that we would meet him back there in the morning.
Oh, of course, that's fine, thank you.
It is sorry, it is a job just for you guys. So like part of the and again, because we're low level, I'm not 5 gold is probably appropriate actually, because again, money is weird in D&D, but it is just it's 2 donkeys and a cart full of crap, and so there wouldn't be enough stuff or enough room for you all to ride in the cart as well.
Mhm.
But there's nobody else, like, so there's none of
There's
their
no
employees.
caravan master.
Right, it's just you guys, and then they give you the goods and the donkeys and the cart to take yourselves. So just
Right.
wanted to throw that out there.
And I'll just look around and say, and Johann did say he would meet us there in the morning, so we should all be ready to leave bright and early.
Well, that's good to know. Unfortunately, we didn't really gain too much information from the temple or from the market. Apparently, they'd never even heard of the place. So, unfortunately, a bit of a dead end on our excursion.
Perhaps we could find some people around the outposts, maybe some hunters who travel into the forest regularly might have some information.
Well, fingers crossed.
Right.
But I'm probably gonna head up for the night. Well, not before I try to relieve some of the nightmare Freya.
Oh, that would be most appreciated, and I can show you to both Rhea's and Osmond's rooms.
Oh, please, thank you.
And as Ragnar's leaving, I'll just say, your father told me to be reporting to you from now on, so I will leave it to you, I'm assuming, to inform him of our travels in the morning.
Oh, of course I can do that.
He just nods and he'll head on out to the servants' quarters.
Yep. And Ragna will show Arvid to Rhea before heading to her father's room and just telling Arvid, just let me know when you're done. I'll be by the hall.
I will do, thank you.
All right. I won't split the party by moving up to the second floor. It's
Yeah.
not that important, but so. I mean, I could put the second floor on this map, just like below it or above it, but it's just the map's already big enough as it is. So.
And one thing Ragna would do tonight is go through her correspondence with Rhea that they had written to each other and kind of look at it with a new eye, with the new knowledge of the witch and the evergreen stone thing.
Green emerald. I didn't write that down if anybody wants.
Evergreen emerald. I wrote it down. I just didn't look at it.
Yeah, if you want to if you want to roll for it, you could do like an investigation check to like go through and see if you can find anything that catches your eye that you weren't looking at before.
Sure. She is not great at this. She is definitely not great at this.
You start looking and then you get really sleepy.
She just falls asleep at her desk.
That happens to me sometimes. You know, you start reading and then you're just like, man, I'm really tired. I gotta go to sleep. But I mean, there's nothing that stops you from doing that later as well. I mean, like it's not like you only had one chance to go through them. So.
Yep. I just imagine her at her desk, kind of reading through and then slowly nodding off, and then thunk, her head hits the table.
Yeah,
So
I'll probably end up casting that on Ragnar as well.
that's pretty cool though. It's a nice spell. It's very appropriate for our scenario.
Before wrapping up for the night, Signe would like to talk to her father Marcus, inform him of the current plan, and just be like, Dad, I got this. Before heading to bed for the night. And before that, she'd also like to check on her sister Rhea. Make sure her condition hasn't gotten any worse.
Slightly better considering that a restful slumber spell has just been cast upon her.
Yay!
because she does sort of thrash a bit in her sleep in this bit of coma. She doesn't speak. She doesn't call out or anything, but you can tell like her body does move. Nothing super violent usually, but so we will just go ahead and skip to the morning, and Johann is hiding under the stairs.
That's where his charger port is.
I try to jump out and scare people. Rawr.
Those are it's a weird. The map is weird. Those are actually like those are steps that go up and then off to the sides. Those are also steps that go up to the second floor. So they just look weird to me. It looks like
Oh, it looks like there's other stairs coming up from this
yeah,
direction.
exactly.
I thought that's what it was, but it goes
Right.
up and then.
Yeah, well, see, look,
Okay.
it makes sense when you look at the second. So let me like it makes sense when you look at the second floor because you can see the actual like balcony that goes around it.
Mm-hmm.
That bit makes sense, but when you see it without the balcony around it, it's like what? Why would they have those 3-pronged stairs like that?
Yeah, I think they try to do it where if it's from the lower end to the top becoming larger, that's up and vice versa down.
Right. It makes sense, but it's hard to do with the 2D map. I mean, I think this is a great map actually, so I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but yeah, it's sometimes
difficult.
It's confusing. So, it is morning. You have all had breakfast prepared by the nice elderly halfling woman that I didn't have a chance to create a token for today because I mentioned earlier about all of my issues with work, but she's there. Her name is Dee Dee, by the way. She's a very sweet old halfling lady. Really, really like, I mean, not Bilbo Baggins old, but she's old because for Ragna and Signa, you would have known her from the time you could remember anything. She's always been here. So yeah,
Well,
she made breakfast and it's really good because she's a halfling and they make good food.
did everyone have a good night's sleep?
Yes, I did. It was quite surprising, actually.
Well, it's good to know my magic still works a little bit.
When you say that, William kind of looks at you and goes, "You have magic for dreams."
Yes, I specifically like the practice of ornamency is dream magic.
Well, I'm glad you found your way into our realm then.
Well, not quite powerful enough to help your sister, but at least when I do cast my spells, it does give her a night of peace.
I believe we should be heading down to the docks pretty soon. Mr. Blackwater will be waiting for us, and we can probably load up the mules on the way out with some other goods we'll need for traveling.
So that is something that I wanted to mention. So because again, travel will matter and all that fun stuff. So you may want to in those little sections on your character sheet, you may want to add ration track because you will have to track them because you can starve to death.
Puny humans needing
Yeah.
food.
Except for the robot.
Right?
Because I don't know what
And-
it is by default. What do you don't you get rations anyway? Like as part of your
You get 10 rations to start off with.
Depending on your pack.
Yeah,
Well,
like actually,
I was
yes.
gonna say I think it. No, I don't think. I don't know
It
if my
depends on
thing
your
came
pack.
with a pack.
I think it does because I think like the scholars pack might not come with them. I can't really remember.
There's
No,
a
yeah,
couple
the scholars pack, and I don't
specific
think the
packs.
entertainer pack does either.
Well, I picked hermit, and I don't for some reason I don't think hermit.
Yeah, but
had-
Hermit is not a pack though. Hermit.
No,
is
your
a-
class
No,
gives
no,
you the
no,
pack.
sorry. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but I took the alternate starting monies.
Oh,
Yeah, and then bought everything.
That's okay. Y'all went shopping last night. You could have picked up rations.
Well, you don't have in this case you don't have to pay for them because Dresden is paying for them. He's setting you
Oh.
guys up for that. So, in this case, you would just need to decide within reason. Obviously, he wasn't gonna give you a year's worth of rations or anything. Obviously, they would go bad before them anyway. But if you figure you're probably, I mean, your route is going to take you a number of weeks at this point. So
yeah. So what is it from where we are up to Brightdale?
I think you said 13 days.
I thought that was straight to the mountain.
yeah. So let's go back.
Oh,
The new one should be a little different. It's
Actually,
300.
Actually, it's almost exactly the same. It's actually like
Yeah,
2
holy
miles.
shit.
well, but I mean, the main difference is the difficult terrain we'd be going through.
Right.
So it'll be. You said it was 24 miles a day, right?
Correct. At a normal pace. And you're not really going to be able to go at a fast pace because the donkeys are not going to be.
Yeah. So that would be
running.
that'd be basically 13 days. So yeah, pretty much the exact same. So then I'll say maybe an extra like what? There's 5 of us, so an extra 10-day supply for each, or 10 days worth of rations for each.
So like 25 to make it round.
Wait, 25 for each of us, or just as a total?
Oh, 25 for each of us. Because we all need to eat, right? Unless rations get split.
Well, I was talking about we could pick up more in Brightdale because I didn't want William would not want this guy paying for that much and having.
Well, here's
Oh.
so and since
And any of you, sorry, survival?
Does anybody?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
barbarians can maybe later on, right? Like I can't remember. Isn't there barbarians?
I guess survival.
Where you can go and get food like just by default.
Probably.
Isn't that like Outlander
Yeah.
background?
Yeah, it might be Outlander. Yeah.
I think
That's
Hermit
okay.
can too, though.
I can hunt.
But yeah, I've got that type of stuff.
To keep in mind. So because again, we're keeping track of these things. So a single day's ration costs 5 silver, and a single day's ration by itself weighs 2 pounds.
That's what the mules are for, or donkeys.
They're carrying their own stuff.
Oh, are they going to be like full?
Well, the donkeys are actually
probably.
just pulling the cart, like so they're not pack animals themselves. They're beasts of burden. So they're not carrying anything on their person. They're just harnessed up to the wagon essentially that's pulling everything.
I'm gonna actually unload the pack I have because I don't think it actually gets the weight right in here.
You've all also forgotten about a very key fact.
What's that?
I'm a goddamn druid.
Yeah, you and your good berries.
I ain't eating 1 berry a day.
At one point, there's a create food and water spell, right?
There is, yes.
I don't know what level that is, but eventually, whoever wants to get that spell will make life's a lot easier. So
I can create water at level 1. So I've got food and water.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where it's like, isn't it just like very bland, like enough to survive, but not really, like you're not really living.
Oh yeah, but that's what hunting's for as well. That's where you get the taste from. But technically, to survive, ration wise, I'd have that covered.
And rations in of themselves, the way that they're described in D&D is not exact. It's jerky, dried fruit, hardtack, and nuts. It's not like it's a gourmet meal.
Yeah, it's trail mix.
Yeah, basically.
Well, I mean, it also kind of varies according to your race if you want to get like really fancy with it. But fun fact, we in a separate campaign we used good berries for over a month to stay alive, trapped on a cloud giant's flying cloud tower.
There you go. It's like lembas bread. You know, it's just like, more lembas bread. Like, it'll keep you alive, but it's not going to keep you happy.
It also doesn't like make you poop, so
Oh yeah, just so you guys know, if you only pulled like the explorers pack into your character sheet, it does not handle the weight correctly. You gotta actually pull the stuff in solo.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've currently got a total weight of 49.2 pounds.
Yeah, mine was close to that, and I just went up to like over 76.
But I don't have a proper pack.
Oh, gotcha,
so.
gotcha. Yeah, then Matt, as we're heading down to the docks, can I stop at like a butcher or something like that and try to just pick up some salted meat and stuff?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, same for me. Probably gonna try and pick up
You-
some tobacco on the way out of town.
You said rashes were 5 silver per 1 day worth, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll drop 4 gold for an extra 8 days.
How do you determine encumbrance again? Does anyone know offhand?
It's your
just
strength
Strength times 15.
times 10. Oh, 15 is it?
I thought it was 15.
Okay, I mean,
I'm gonna look it up because I've never even paid attention to it.
sorry, well, because I think the other character sheet just had, light
Yeah, it told
load.
you when you were.
Yeah, and this one might tell you when you go over, but it doesn't tell me when I go over. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I
I'm
have
gonna
some
add
extra-
1,000 copper to my.
That won't work. I tried that. I'm gonna add a
Okay, no,
1,000.
it does. I added a 10,000 copper, and it did tell me I was over carrying capacity.
Carrying capacity, multiply your strength score by 15 pounds for medium creatures.
Okay, so mine is 13 times 15.
Mine is 8 times 15.
So mine is 195 carrying capacity. I'm gonna go put that in my bio.
Yep, I put that in my bio too, although Aragna's at 255 pounds she can carry.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy the equivalent of like a pound of tobacco. But there's no actual set price for tobacco, so I'm gonna probably go for like the price of salt. Oh.
There are probably some,
Yeah, somewhere.
yeah, like, some supplements for it.
But yes, that's gonna be 5 copper basically. Like I said, I don't know off the top of my head. If it costs more, I'll sort it out on a later session.
The only thing I found that there's a homebrew tobacco. It doesn't say the weight, but roughly shredded or ground leaves, usually smoked through a pipe or rolled. They have it listed as 3 gold, but like, and I could see it depending on the amount, but they don't even give a weight for that, so that seems a bit pricey for
like
when they don't even
AUs.
tell you how much it is. Right. So, I mean, I think a pound of tobacco would not. I mean, I don't know. A pound of tobacco is actually that's a lot of tobacco.
I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
that's a decent amount.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna pick up like the 4 gold worth of dried meats and stuff like that for like if we ever have time to actually cook something while we're going.
Egg sausages, nice crispy bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that potato stew that I heard so much about last session?
Yeah, that was a different world.
120 pounds I can carry.
240. Get lifting, boys.
I too can carry 240, so I can heft some of your weight.
I kind of feel like you wouldn't even you wouldn't even feel it, right? Like, because it's not like your muscles are going to strain if you don't have them. You don't have muscles.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it. Well,
It's
I
hard
forget
to-
how.
I don't know how it works for.
Yeah, they talk about it differently with different things, but I guess I would think it's probably whatever the load my hardware could withstand before becoming damaged.
We won't
Yeah,
go that
I think
into
so
depth.
too.
We'll just go with strength score, not.
Before like your hinge joints begin to fail.
So, you guys can get those things, and basically charge it to Dresden.
Oh shit, I was going to pay for it myself, but if that's the
Yeah, I
case.
did the same. All right. I own 4 gold.
So, because you're, going off and at his suggestion, he was willing to. Dresden is a fairly wealthy man, so it's unless you're spending thousands of gold, he's not gonna care too much.
Right.
Well,
So-
should we go meet your Blackwell?
Blackwater.
Blackwater, sorry.
If everyone has what they need, yes, he should have a cart and a few mules. Is anyone here good with animals?
Not particularly.
I'm probably okay. Oh, let's probably bring this up now. I can actually create food and water. It's not the tastiest stuff, but it's enough to keep people alive.
I suppose that would be good if we were to go in the temple and there'd be a sudden cave-in or something.
Sure.
I'm pretty good with animals. I'll step forward to. Are we currently with the mules, or we're
Oh, no,
just
we're heading
collecting
there right
stuff,
now.
or- Okay.
And the mules will be at the
The
fens.
docks. Or...
No, they won't be at the docks. They'll be at the fens and at the. But you're meeting your contact at the dock. So.
Oh, okay. I can manage the cart.
Well, follow me. I'll show you where he was.
It sounds like setting off on an adventure music all of a sudden. That was nice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just like,
Yeah, it's like, all right, let's go. So yeah, I mean, Blackwater's exactly where he said he was to be. You can see that he's kind of sitting back at the docks, and obviously when you get to the docks, it's exactly what you expect it to be. It's loud noises and people yelling, and you hear clanging bells and the turning of ropes and seagulls being obnoxious. And then he's sort of sitting off to the side. He's got his he's sitting in this rickety old chair, and he's got his feet up on like a spool, like one of the big spools that you would wrap rope around. He's got his feet up, and he is smoking a pipe, just kind of like watching what you assume is probably people that he has hired to work for him, and he's just kind of relaxing.
I'll head up and I'll give him a nod and Mr. Blackwater, this is Lady Ragna and Lady Signa. We are willing to accept your job.
Oh, wonderful. And he gets up and he does a very short sort of bow as a nod to the ladies, and says, "Just a moment, please." And he starts. He's got a long leather coat on, and he starts digging into his pockets, and he pulls out this crumpled piece of paper, and then he sort of quickly starts writing on it, and then he hands it over to you. And as you look at it, it's basically just it's not necessarily an IOU, but it's to hand to the people at the outpost, and they will then pay you, because he's not going to pay you up front. So it's basically just it's got his signature
A
on everything.
voucher.
It's basically a voucher. I mean, it looks very official, even though it is kind of crumpled up because he had it in his pocket. But he signs that, goes, kind of slams it down on the table. He's like, "There you go. Best of luck to you."
Right. Is there any deadline? It should be close to 2 weeks travel, yes?
Sounds about right. Try to make it there in reasonable time. There's nothing necessarily urgent, but we want to keep the halflings' business. If you're a bit slow, maybe they don't want to keep our business. So,
Right. All right.
so you guys can head over
yeah.
to the fens. And again, he's got it. It's you can tell that this is not the first go around as far as this goes. So he just mentions that you just need to tell them that you're looking for the Blackwater mules, basically, and they'll get you all set up. And you can see that the cart itself is it's it's a four-wheeled cart, so I mean it's relatively um, large, and it is uh, packed pretty high, and it's got ropes around it to keep it from bouncing off. And for those of you that I mean, with a decent perception and knowledge of these things, I mean, you do get the smell of tobacco. So you imagine that a large portion of what you're transporting is tobacco. There are a few boxes and things like that that obviously are not tobacco because they're you don't know what they are, and he didn't mention what they are, but the majority of what you can see and what you can smell obviously is tobacco, and it is very nice. And for those of you that are familiar with uh, Isilran tobacco, this is different. So this is something that obviously came from somewhere else. So.
So, quick question. I mean, not that I am abdicating this or whatever, but is there anything that's stopping us from just like taking the cart and running? Or did like we only get the job because he was familiar with the family? You know what I mean?
I mean, regardless, there's nothing that's necessarily stopping you from taking it. I mean,
Okay.
the uh, I would say that they probably did, and the way I didn't go into this, I mean, they probably would um, get. I mean, he knows who you are now because he was introduced to
Yeah.
all of you, so that's not necessarily a thing. I mean, so there's a trust level that's been that they're assuming that you're going to do the gig because I mean, what's the benefit for you to steal it?
Yeah.
I mean, and that type of thing. So yeah, but there's nothing that's stopping you.
Okay. No, sorry. I don't intend to do anything like that. I was just curious. Like, would it be common for them to have some sort of like magical tracking or I don't know.
It's possible. I don't think any of you are experts on caravan travel at the moment. Well, actually, Signa might have because Signa has some interest in her grandfather, and so maybe she would have heard stories that he told, and that probably is not outside of the realm of possibility that there would be magical tracking, whether it be on the cart or some of the goods or even the mules themselves. Just if something bad happens to them, they have a way to recoup or recover their losses in some way.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, part of it too is I'm just wondering like if we get jumped by bandits or whatever, like is there enough money in the goods for us to like defend it with our lives, or do we just let it go if we you know what I mean? Like
Well,
how
I will say the goods are significantly or worth significantly more than you're being paid to guard it. We'll put it that
okay.
way.
Okay. Then I will go up and corral the mules and just kind of look at the group. Shall we go then?
Everyone has everything that they need. Yes. It
Yes,
is
Oh
a
we
yeah.
do.
long journey.
Well, I'm probably fine.
Let's get headed out then.
All right. So you guys head out, and for the vast majority of nearly all of the journey, in fact, you will be on a road. It is uh, the quality of said road will obviously vary in different places, and it's a little bit chilly. So I would say that if your characters don't have winter clothing, that is something that you could add to your character sheet as something that you picked up as well. Warm clothing. I think it's a separate thing in the compendium, but if not, you can just write it down somewhere on your character sheet that you do have warm clothing that you could use.
Traveler's clothes is probably the closest I could find to it. at least in the compendium.
I mean, the closest thing I found was Boots of the Winterlands, and I
Yes.
don't think that's something you want to give us.
Yeah, I think Traveler's Close will be fine. I already have that.
Oh, Boots of the Winterlands are pretty nice though.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I guess it all depends. It's good. They're good if you're going to be spending any time in some place that's very cold. Otherwise, they're pretty useless. So,
Sorry. Yeah, how
okay.
do we want to handle the travel in general? I know you were saying that you're not going to have us roll every night. Like, do you just want us to make like one or more rolls and determine what happens in between?
I'll probably just if for example, I'll say that we're saying what, around 13 days or so. The first
Yeah.
3 days are pretty uneventful because there's not really. I mean, you're not far from Stormhaven. It's not like it's particularly dangerous. Let me just mark my calendar here too.
Yeah, I think more than anything, apart from topping up water or handing out the odd good berry, I'd probably try and do a little bit of like survival to try and find the odd rabbit or something for variety.
Yep. You and Ragna, if you are, or I'm sorry, you and Signa, if you are proficient in survival, can roll for whatever game you can find out there.
And I will guide myself with a +6.
Sorry, I gotta wait for roll 20 to reload.
28.
I don't think you're going to need to roll after that. What he
You
just
probably
did.
don't. He's pretty much got he murders a burrow of rabbits.
Well, probably not all at once.
I didn't realize you had a pipe bomb on you.
Yeah.
And how do you guys want to handle watch at night in general?
Well, luckily I'm a full elf, so as long as I get 4 hours of meditation, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
and
much good to go.
also, the necromancer doesn't need to sleep either because he's not person.
Well, yeah.
He has to
So
take Sentry's watch, which means he has to be down for 6 hours, but he's still
Where
is aware.
yeah. So I mean, I guess I wouldn't like volunteer to stay on watch the whole night, but I would probably still just be aware if anything happened.
I mean, like, yeah, I'll probably take 4 hours. That's not an issue. So between 4 other people, if they want to do it the other 4 to 6 hours.
I mean,
That's-
in likelihood, so the way that I would look at it is that probably the 3 humans, or the one's Asimar, but I'm going to say human anyway, but probably only 2 of them would need to be on watch. So, like, you could rotate, but like probably once every 3 days that, you can just keep trading off. Like, today, Ragna just sleeps the whole night, and, William and Signa are on watch, and then the next day William sleeps the whole night, and then Signa, and you know what I mean, like,
That
because you
works.
probably don't need all 3 humans to be on there with the elf and the
That sounds good to me.
keep the humans rested.
Just wait till I get more abilities.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna like have a full night's sleep instantaneously.
No, I can make camp and no one can see in.
There you
Ooh.
go.
Dream druids are actually great for transport.
Like getting
Neat.
inside the tiny hut and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
without having to do that. So, well, anyway, we'll say the 4th day will be our first night of watch.
Yep.
So however you guys want to do that.
So
For the other 3 days of travel, could Arachna roll to see if she can find anything else in the letters?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll just make one and hope for the best. Nope. She finds
asleep again.
nothing.
If she's willing to ask for help, I can help you.
Nope, she's not.
Okay.
But yeah, whether Arvid goes first or last, I'd leave that to the group.
I'm fine with doing a watch the fourth night.
Do you have a preference for the order?
No, my guy wouldn't really care.
Signe will take first watch.
Yeah, then I'll probably do the last, like, quote unquote, 2 watches.
Yep. Rolled up.
So I'm on the watch with Signa, right? That's what we said, we would have the humans do the watch together.
I don't think you meant together, just like on rotation.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, and I mean, I would probably, during I guess my inactive state, probably just be like sitting at the fire, just kind of like hunched over, kind of looking like I'm just staring into the fire. But, so do you need perception checks, Matt?
Well, is it just Arvid and Ragna who have dark vision?
I believe so.
Yeah, I have dark vision.
So that's another way. That's another thing you probably want to keep in mind as well. Is that if you put, the humans would be at disadvantage by themselves.
Can I? Well, I guess. Sorry, I guess I can't concentrate while I'm resting because I was just thinking about the dancing lights cantrip. Yeah, so I'd probably just stay near the fire and
And I
try
mean,
to use that light.
I don't know. I mean, I find it like, I don't know what you guys think, but I also kind of feel like there's something to be said about. I mean, I get disadvantage when you don't have dark vision, but at the same time, I feel like that's only applicable if you have something that's trying to sneak up on you so you can't see it and they're completely silent. Because, I mean, obviously humans are going to be able to hear something. I mean, obviously they don't have the ears of, like,
Yeah.
an animal, but at the same time, it's like you're not completely, like, in a vacuum where you can't see or hear anything. So, I don't know. I don't know, like, if there's a specific rule for rolling without dark vision, but
Well, I mean, if they're just listening out for movement, then probably not at disadvantage. But if they're like actually scanning, like visibly looking, then maybe disadvantage that way.
I always imagined it just like, I guess, anything beyond the dim light of the fire, I probably wouldn't be able to see, but I could still hear, so I would probably just have a harder DC to simply hear them over hearing and seeing them. You know what I mean?
yeah. We'll just do straight rolls for now and then see what happens.
Figure it out later.
So then, yeah, if Signa's going first, did everyone else have a preference?
I'll probably take the last 2.
I mean, I would, because I guess that's the thing with Sentry's Rest. I would be still by the fire, aware. So, do you still want me to roll for stuff, Matt, or kind of just let it go for now?
We can roll just for fun because, I mean, it's always fun to roll.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take the watch after Signa then. This is going to be great.
Ragna is sleeping. Or attempt to read a letter and then fell asleep.
Yeah, I'll just continue to keep cheating and cast guidance on myself because mwaha. 18.
I mean, that's always the fun part about being a wizard and casting alarm too, because it's a ritual spell, so you can like cast it and then go to sleep and get it right back.
Mm-hmm.
So for and Arvid, you're doing the last bit, right?
Correct.
Um. So for Johan and Signa, like during your watch, um, I assume that you guys are sort of camping off the road, like a fair bit, so that you're not like right. I mean, you're probably still within eye shot of the road, but trying to find whether it be like a little bit of cover behind some rocks or trees. I mean, obviously there are no trees listed on the map because like there wouldn't be. There's not forest there, but it's not like it's barren land. So I'm assuming that you guys would try to find a reasonable place so that you're not just
A little bit of
sitting
cover.
yeah, so you're not just sitting out in the open. But um, for the first part of the watch, you hear the normal things. So you would hear owls, or there probably wouldn't be a ton of insects that you would hear considering the time of year. Um, but other than that, I mean, it's just the normal stuff. Arvid, however, towards the end of your first set of watches there, um, behind you, so if I'll just to set the scene, we'll say that you're sitting at the fire and you are facing towards the road. And so behind you, so even further away from the road, you start to hear like a dragging sound. It's kind of like the sound of like wood scraping across the ground. Um, and you hear uh, some noise from a creature that sounds like it's struggling, or I guess like the sound of effort being made. It's kind of the grunting of like something pulling something along as you hear this dragging sound.
I'll take a step away from camp just to have a quick look.
So
I'll do it quietly.
Yeah, I mean, you can do stealth if you want to try and.
Yeah, I think at this stage, just assume I'm going to guide myself all the time, because it's basically me touching myself and going, I'm good at this.
Attaboy. You just.
Yeah.
So probably a good 50, 75 yards away from the fire, you see a small humanoid that appears to be dragging a I don't know what you. I know there's a word for it, but I can't think of it on the top of my head. Basically like a stretcher. And so that it appears. So it's essentially two sticks and then something in the middle, and then it looks like there's somebody that's sort of like been a sled, I guess you could call it, is sort of like roped into this, and this creature appears to be pulling this sled along with somebody attached to it. Both very small humanoid creatures. Do an extra perception check, I guess, real quick. You would guess that, based on the shapes that you can see, that the two creatures are goblins. They could be mistaken for halflings from a certain distance, but you can see they've got larger ears, and it looks like a goblin is pulling another goblin on a stretcher or sled of some kind.
I think I'll keep watching it for a little while, then I'll return to camp.
Okay. And you see that they're moving. So essentially, they are moving. If you guys, well, we'll see. If we're assuming that you guys are, can't even do the general math of how far 4 days would be, but if you guys are in this general area, Um, it is actually moving towards the forest, away from.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all that happens. If you let them go, then that's all that happened. And the rest of your watch goes uneventful.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, how was everyone's sleep?
Oh, it was lovely. And she quickly realizes she's fallen asleep trying to read the letters again and quickly puts them away.
Like sleeping on the road.
I haven't traveled too much. It has been interesting. Sleeping better as the days go.
Hope you don't mind me asking, considering all of you are from the area, but does the forest usually have goblins in it?
Those god awful miscreants are everywhere. You think they're just confined to the forest?
Well, during the night, I saw a goblin pulling another goblin on a stretcher deeper into the forest.
Stretcher? That's unusual.
Well, at first I thought it was maybe halflings or children, but on a deeper look, it was definitely goblins.
Can I go look where he was saying they were pulling and see if I could see anything?
Yep.
Would that be investigation or perception?
Investigation. If you're gonna go like look for tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hand, like just pointing out where it was, where they came from, and the direction they went.
All right.
And I'll tap you on the shoulder.
What is it? D4.
Yeah.
Nice 20.
So yeah, you can see that he is telling the truth. You do see like drag marks.
Is there any like blood or anything, or like clothing or anything left back?
You don't see anything like that, but you can see a few faint footprints, and then like essentially what looks like two drag marks, where like because it's very rudimentary sort of like thing
Like
that
a
it was
gurney
pulling.
type thing.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, like if you think of gurneys like in the military, where you would have just like basically two sticks and then somebody sitting on a hammock in the middle. That's basically kind of what this was, but very poorly made, and then someone was strapped to it, and then this goblin was just pulling it by themselves rather than having another person there to carry the other side of it.
I'll look up at him and just say, I've never really seen them use contraptions like this before, but I guess every being is capable of learning.
Well, true. Plus, I didn't really want to start a fight in the middle of the night.
Just be happy that they seem to pass by without caring much for what we were doing.
Well, we can add that to something we could possibly check out on the way back.
Well, we will be traveling into the forest as we get up further to the north, so yeah, it's definitely something. Just you, and he kind of looks at you and he goes, you're from the Feywild, yes? You said?
That's correct, yes.
So forests are sort of your thing. Will you be able to remember this location, or should we put some sort of marking up?
Doesn't necessarily mean that forests are my thing, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find my way.
Right? Yeah, and just head back to the rest of the group.
All right.
And as we're all sitting down, eating or whatever, you all would notice William just pulls out his dagger and starts cutting his own hair. Which, since you've probably been around him for a little bit now, you've noticed he does quite often.
Yeah, no wonder why it always looks like a mess. You know, if you give someone else a dagger, it can clean it up at least a little better.
It's very annoying when it touches my neck and such. So I don't really mind much what it looks like as long as it doesn't do that.
Suit yourself.
Well, I don't know. You might possibly look good with long hair. I've never seen it, so can't really comment.
Comfort over looks, in my opinion.
Fair. But if you want, tonight maybe I can catch a rabbit or two and we can have ourselves a nice stew.
It would be a nice change from just dried meat and some sort of bread. I would like that.
I mean, I always have the berries.
He kind of just looks at that and like with a stink face, like, well, when needed, not bad, but don't even feel like you've truly eaten when you have one.
Oh, but it's enough on long journeys.
Alrighty, so a few more days pass without any super interesting things happen. So we are. Let me make sure we got this here.
Oh, can I roll for investigation?
You want some help?
Nope.
Would you like some guidance?
Nope.
I'm just waiting for.
Here.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just waiting for that time you eventually tell us what you're doing so we can help you.
Well, I mean, you guys can see what I mean. That she's reading something, and they look like letters. I mean, she's not reading it out of a book, but you could maybe assume that she's reading love letters from her, mysterious, boyfriend or something. But
You're reading boring letters from your lame temple.
yeah.
Oh, no. Yes. I am.
Is she telling the truth?
Bookworm.
That's right, Jeff.
Insight with advantage, and just because. 27.
Try to lie. Please try to lie.
Where is that? 9.
You do not believe that she's reading letters from her temple.
Well, whatever it is, you'll tell us when you're ready, okay? And he'll just, like, wink at her.
Of course.
So, as I mentioned at the beginning, we started on the 21st, and you left on the 22nd, and it is now the 29th of Quersar, which is the last day of Quersar. And as you guys are traveling along the road, you very quickly, just kind of suddenly out of nowhere, you start to hear some rustling along as you're passing. You're passing through like a bit of there's hills to your left, and there's some tree cover, and you start to hear sort of this rustling coming from the trees, and it's coming towards you very, very quickly. And then you start to hear this kind of like basically a bit of a barking sound, and everybody just go ahead and roll initiative
Woo!
because you're being attacked by
Whoa.
wolves.
All right.
Erg.
Is initiative's
you're in
a ability, isn't it?
think that you can cast guidance on.
Yeah, I
on
don't
this.
think so, but I don't think it works for that. But
You are being attacked by regular wolves and what you think is a rather big dire wolf. If I actually, would set up the. Also, I added it to everybody's. Why is there a Will of the Feywild on? That's weird. Like I don't even. I've never even seen that character sheet. Okay. Well, I added the tiebreaker to everybody's rolls as well. So it just adds the point number is your dexterity. So like your dexterity is 13, and like for Ragna it's 18.13, just as tiebreakers. And I added the tiebreakers to all of the monsters as well. So these wolves are charging straight at you from the woods here. So these are different character sheets. So I got to find the initiative on them. Oh, it's the little icon. Duh. All right, the barbarian's ready to go. See those wolves charging? She's all about it. So Signa, you are standing next to your donkeys. Those don't really look like donkeys, but that's all I had. So they look kind of like weird cow horse things, but
Finally, time to release some pent up frustration. And I would like to rage.
go for it. I just like the so just in my mind I'm thinking, you're going down this road, wolves start charging at you, and the first thing Signa screams and starts running directly at them as they're running towards her.
Best way for a barbarian to do it.
And reckless. A 19 definitely hits. Well, 24 would be the advantage roll. So you run in.
And then it gives me a +2 on melee weapons, so that's really a 17 slashing.
With a great axe. All right, so you go in, charging at it, screaming at this dire wolf, and slam your great axe into it. And you hear it yelp, and you can see it's taken aback a little bit. Like it was not expecting that at all.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. And I
All
think that's
right.
all I can do for me, so.
All right, Ragna, you just saw your sister charge at a dire wolf and
Yep.
smack it with an axe.
Ragna will do similar things quieter. Run forward with her shield and the longsword, and for fun, she's left-handed. And we'll give a nice slash. And do I have to do Divine Smite like now?
no, you
or...
choose after the hit.
Okay. So let's roll that, and then Divine Smite it as well. So her symbol of Arathis that she wears around like a belt will also go off twice, I guess.
Or you can
Does
just
that
double.
also count?
Yeah, you would either roll it twice, double it, or you can actually make a new attack that's like a critical version of it.
Which do you want, Matt?
I mean, it doesn't even matter because you just killed it.
Okay, so yeah, her just like a bolt of lightning is what I like to think of that Divine Smite looks like.
Yeah, I mean, like the radiant damage was enough almost by itself to kill what was left. I mean, direwolves had 37 hit points, so that didn't go as it expected at all.
For some strange reason, it suddenly clicks why these ladies come from a new noble background.
I missed my extra monitor here. Okay, so Direwolf down. All
Look
right.
at William. I guess they can handle themselves.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like impressed.
So I got a
It's Magnet.
question. Sorry, are the smaller wolves like grown wolves, or are they like cubs that were with?
No,
like
they are regular sized wolves. They are normal. Direwolves are considered large creatures, so that's why they're.
I was just wondering if there was a chance to like mollify, and if they were cubs, like maybe take one, or just get them to leave us alone without having to kill them. But
These are adult wolves that
yeah,
you would assume, knowing what anybody would generally know about wolves, that the dire wolf was the alpha wolf, the pack leader, and acting on instincts. Again, wolves are not probably going to run. They might run if they're injured, but they're not going to run when they see one of their own injured necessarily. So it is your turn. You've got wolves that are still now bearing down on the two that just killed the direwolf, which I'll just remove from the turn order, I guess.
I will step up and swing my war pick. Does a 12 hit?
It does.
For 5 piercing.
Right? You can see that it yelps, that horrible sound, when dogs yelp. Hurts your heart to hear. You get that when you... Exactly.
Poor puppy.
Anything else?
Look what you made me do. No, sorry. I'm good.
All right. So it is this wolf back here, and it is going to run up and attempt to attack Cigna, and it gets... Well, it has advantage because you did reckless, but it also has advantage because of pack tactics. So it's going to attempt to bite you. So it leaps forward, and it's a 21. So I assume that hits.
Yeah, it does.
So you take 6 points of piercing damage, and you need to, which I'm sure you'll be fine with, but you need to do a DC 11 strength saving throw.
Raging
Okay.
advantage.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So is that what that accounted?
No, you would take 3 because you at. So the wolf comes running in, and you see it coming. You just kind of lift your forearm up, and it bites a hold of your arm.
Good for it.
Yeah. So now you kind of have you got
New
some teeth marks
bracelet
on your arm. Yeah. But strength saving throw, if you would please, because it might knock you
Strength.
down. Yeah, strength. You have advantage. That's a charisma save, but
Yeah, I didn't mean to hit charisma.
the wolf is not charmed by you.
It's okay. It's not my
Yeah.
type either.
So even if you didn't have advantage, because you're raging, you would have saved that easily because it's a DC 11. So you got the dog up on your forearm, and you kind of just shake it off a little bit. You got it's not a full bite mark, but
Whoops.
it cut your skin, and you got a little bit of blood there, but nothing you can't handle. So it is now the other one's turn, and it's going to try and grab a hold of Ragna. So it's going to do the same thing, run in, jump, and try and bite your arm. And that is going to miss. No, it is not. It's a 19. Your
Yep.
AC is 18. So
Yes.
so you would take 9 piercing damage and also need to make a strength saving.
Okay. Strength saving throw.
So you are not knocked down. So it when it jumps in and bites, it sort of gets in between like your gauntlets and your glove there. So it like latches on right in the right spot, kind of opens up your vein a little bit, and you bleed. It's the only way I can explain how you would take 9 piercing damage off of when you're wearing like paladin armor, but
Yeah, she'll be some pain.
it is now William's turn.
All right. I will, out of my weapons that I have, pull out a short sword and a dagger. I'm going to run up. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I'm going to run up 30 feet, and I'm going to try to go at its leg with the dagger, and then try to, like, even if that misses, distract it and hit it across the back with the short sword. So the dagger would be offhand. So. Wait, no, I shouldn't have the plus for that. So that should only be the 4 damage. Or
3 damage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that should only be the 3 damage. I don't know why it's giving me a modifier. But then my short sword main hand attack. I don't have one for some reason. All right.
Oh yeah. So you run in, slash, and it is toast.
All right. Nice. Yeah, so then he will just stay there in a defensive stance looking at the next wolf.
Right. Arvid.
Well, Arvid sees everyone just running forward, but instead of panicking or getting overexcited, he will just start puffing on his pipe, fanning it with a cap, creating as much smoke as possible, and he will cast Sleep.
That affects everybody.
By the lowest HP first, yes. But it's just blows the smoke forward, and it's just a fog that rolls past.
Alright, so never mind. Ignore me.
No, currently, Ragna has the lowest hit points.
Yep.
Oh.
Ragna goes back to bed.
He started reading letters in the middle of combat and went back to bed. Makes her sleepy. So, that's 9 of the 18. So there's 9 left. Nothing else falls asleep.
I mean, does it? Oh no, it doesn't have to. It's 90 feet and 20 feet, so I can just do it past them.
What's your... Oh, 90 feet.
Yeah. And this doesn't even cost me a spell slot, because it's a racial ability. Yeah, the blowing it past him was just more the flavour.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're like really, I mean, that feels like it's beyond a level 2 character, but it's fine. It just the idea that you can be so pinpoint that you're gonna stop it right where the wolves are and not where the people are. That's talent right there.
Oh, but it's a level 1 spell, right? Doesn't the racial just let him cast it once a day or something?
Yeah, it's like I basically get a racial one cast of this because it's specifically for pallid elves.
So one of them will fall asleep. I guess the one on the left is one. The one on the right is. So well, I'll roll a 1 or a 2 is the one on the left. 3 or 4 is the one on the right. So this one falls asleep.
Yeah, and as a bonus action, because I saw Ragnar get bitten, I will send out a calming word in Elvish and use of the balm of the Sealy Court.
Nice.
So basically you heal 1d6 and gain 1 point of temporary hit points.
Nice. Are you gonna roll the d6? Oh, yep.
You're getting 4 hit points and you've got 1 temporary.
Okay.
So I never even have to use healing word.
Isn't it a great feature?
Dude, Dream Elves are surprisingly good.
Doesn't it
I
say
mean-
by a d6 equal to your druid level? So aren't you level 2?
Yeah, I've got 2 dice.
Oh, okay. I thought it meant each time you do it. Okay.
No,
No,
I just get like
2 dice.
per long rest. I get like the dice, like level amount of dice spent for free.
Gotcha.
Very nice. I mean, it's not as cool as Griffin Grease, but
Well, true. But yeah, that's me. That's blowing smoke and saying nice things.
all right. Well, this wolf is dead, so it's Cygna's turn again.
Murder. Alright, well, here's to the one that bit me. Oh.
Yeah, that does not hit, unfortunately. So you can see that it was a little distracted by all of the smoke and kind of backed away. And when you were getting ready to swing, it was already kind of alert as to what was going on, and it dodges out of the way really quickly.
Fair enough. I don't have any fancy attacks or anything, so that's it for me.
All right, it is Ragna's go.
Yep, Ragna will give a quick salute to Arvid before dashing around her sister and slashing with her longsword.
Definitely hits it. And you hear the horrid yelp of an injured dog, wolf, creature.
Puppers.
Eternal pupper.
But it is still standing, so
And that's all she's gonna do.
all right. Johan, you just saw the wolf get stabbed by a longsword.
I will swing upwards with my war pick. Huzzah!
And you take it out. So now you have a sleeping wolf.
Coup de
Which-
grace.
I would allow that, honestly, for this particular creature.
But yeah,
I mean, a sleeping wolf is not going to be particularly difficult to... Like, if it was a big, scary creature, maybe not. But for this, killing a dog is not going to be...
I think it'll
difficult.
be William doing it though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be William's turn next if he chooses to do so.
Yeah. He'll go over and just pull out his one of his daggers and just go straight across the throat with it.
And it was asleep, so it was a very peaceful way to go. More so than the other wolves got, actually, so...
Ragna would still say, that was a little unnecessary. We could have just driven past it, I believe.
I don't know what you know of wolves and running in packs and such, but this thing would be horrible on its own in this land.
Everyone just looks back and see Arvid just still smoking.
And actually up to the north a little bit, you actually do hear more rustling sound.
Signa, do you need some healing?
Nah, I'm good. Thanks, though.
Are you sure? Anybody else?
No, I'm fine.
If we hear more rustling, I'm just gonna stand back up there and I'm gonna take a defensive stance just in case.
More importantly, don't you think this direwolf pelt would make a great cape?
I don't think we have time to skin it. We should probably head off.
You're right. It's too bad. I'd really
Ragna's
like to
gonna
present it to Dad.
Ragna's gonna slap herself and do healing hands and get 2 extra hit points.
Like it's smacking your face, trying to wake yourself up. Like,
William's gonna kind of look over his shoulder at all of them and say, "Does no one else hear more coming from up here?"
Yeah, that's why I said we should head on.
Could I listen to see if I can identify a mount, if possible?
This is the way we are going, right, Matt? Like we're going towards where they're coming from.
Correct. You're going.
Okay.
And after even a few minutes, actually, the rustling comes out of the trees, and it actually is funny enough, as you mentioned, trying to pacify a pup happens to be a wolf pup.
I can
Regular
get
wolf,
mad at
dire
that.
wolf pup.
Hard to say. You would guess. Do a nature check.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Anybody
sure
who
I'm
wants to
great
guess?
at that.
Yeah, I'll do one.
Not bad.
Can I do animal handling?
Look at that thing.
He's so cute.
I turn to Signa. Do you have food? Beef jerky?
Yeah, of course I do. I'll start tossing out pieces. We're keeping it, right? Please.
We'll see.
It is
I'll-
for William and Johan. At its current size, you would estimate that it's probably a regular wolf. It's also possible, considering what you just saw, that it is a hybrid. It's hard to tell though, because it could be a super young dire wolf, but you would guess that it's probably not, because they would even be bigger. Even as pups, they'd be bigger. The dire wolf that you killed was a male. The other 3 wolves were female. The regular wolves, and this is a female. You wouldn't know that yet, probably, but this is a female pup.
Well, would you like me to speak to it?
Puppy, puppy, puppy.
I don't
Come here, puppy.
know how great that would be.
Come on, puppy.
Maybe
Oh,
once
look
we're
at
away
you.
from the other bodies.
Puppy,
Yes, we probably kind of killed its parents.
Which is why I say we are definitely taking it and not leaving it to die alone out here.
Oh, definitely.
Puppy, puppy, puppy.
Yeah, I'll just cast Speak with Animals.
Aren't druid things?
Not even as a ritual, just straight up casting it. Well, would you like something to eat, little one?
I'm not sure how intelligent wolves actually. How intelligent are wolves? What is their intelligence level? I say I'm not sure, and then I can just look it up.
That'd be what, like a 3 or 4?
A wolf is a 3. Here, let me do
Also
this.
a baby.
Yeah. There you go. I like messing with the tokens, make them turn around. Of course, you're not looking at it. Hey, let me flip it back.
Watch out! But yeah, I'll hold out some, as I said, just a good berry for now, and I'll try just calming it with food.
Yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't have a whole lot of ability to really communicate, even, I mean, with any sort of words that you would understand, because it doesn't really, it's like what Brian said, I mean, it's a puppy, so it doesn't really have great communication at the moment anyway. But obviously, yes, it is responsive to food. Not.
Yeah. Well, if you wish, if you want to come with me, or with us, we can give you some more food.
And it seems to be receptive to the idea. Obviously, you if you choose to keep this wolf, you will probably have to periodically make animal handling checks, because I mean, this is still a wild animal. It's not a dog.
Yeah, that's fine.
His name is Aster.
It's a girl.
His name is
Astrid.
Aster.
But yeah,
Good name,
I'll
Aster.
He was
attempt.
named after a
Sydney
wolf.
announces.
I'll attempt to pick it up and keep feeding it food.
All right. So we will, for the remaining amount of the journey, we will go ahead and just roll animal handling checks, and all of you can do it too. It's not like one of you has to be the animal handler. And then basically just as a combined effort, if you can tame a wild animal. But I'll move us back to the other map. That actually was a little faster than I thought. Again, it's always difficult to gauge, especially in the beginning, what everybody's abilities are, and what at level 2. But
Paladin
Yeah,
critting
then-
with smite is going to kill
Yeah.
something pretty fast.
well, and the thing is, like with the direwolf didn't get to do anything, just died. So the direwolf was the one that was the biggest threat and could have done the most damage, but didn't get a chance. So
Well, luckily you've got a druid who can also cast animal friendship on creatures with an intelligence of 4 or lower.
here you go.
Damn druids doing druid things.
Yep.
So, yep, screw it, I'll spend another spell slot because why not, and I'll cast animal friendship.
So the next thing that you could do, and you'll probably have to wait a little bit. Does it say how long? Oh, it lasts for.
Yeah, it lasts for
day.
24 hours.
But it's certainly helpful. I mean, it's not like there's anything that says like after 24 hours, it's like, oh my god, it's not like Charm Person where it's like you cast a spell on me, you're not my friend. It's not smart enough to know that. So
Yeah, it'll probably just give people advantage or like a bit of assistance in trying to tame it, more than likely.
So we'll still do some animal handling. The other thing would be, obviously it's not applicable at the moment, but if you keep this thing and you ever want it to be more than just something that you keep in your bag, and obviously or follows you around as it gets big, if you'd like to fight, you'd have to train it to do so. So we've got about 4 more days of travel.
Ragna's going to read. Oh,
Very nice.
Ragnar read well finally.
You drank a cup of coffee beforehand.
So the letters that she sent to you, she does mention Neela, her friend, a fair amount, because in addition to, so I didn't really explain this to everybody, but Rhea is somewhat socially awkward. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and people don't like her because it's one of those things where she's very, very good and she gets like, straight A's. So it's one of those things where everybody just thinks that she's, and the teachers and everybody, like they fawn over how great she is and blah, blah, blah. And like everything that she does in classes and everything seems to be very easy. So obviously kids being kids, they're jealous and they want to start rumors about her and they want to knock her down a peg because it's like she's constantly better at everything than everybody. And, kids are mean. So she doesn't really have a whole lot of friends. People, try and pick on her a lot. So Neela is the only person really that she has as far as friends are concerned, is outside of her family. And you do see that she mentions that it really upsets Neela that when people are picking on Rhea, and Rhea doesn't usually stand up for herself. When she was younger, she did, and she hurt somebody because, again, she's very, very powerful magic user, and she got upset and sort of unleashed some of that power because somebody was making fun of her, and she injured this child, and so she doesn't want to do that again, so she just kind of takes it, and that's probably not good for her mental health. And it bothers Neela that everybody's picking on a friend. So Neela has, in the past, attempted to cast, like, I guess the best thing would be like curses or hexes on people when they make fun of Rhea. That's really you don't get any details about what that is, but Rhea does mention in the letters that Neela has doesn't sound like anything like too dangerous. She's not casting spells to injure or kill people. It's more like, she turns their milk sour, that kind of stuff.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
I would hate her so much.
So that's what, but again, like, this is not anything that Rhea is doing. This is Neela is doing it to sort of stand up for her friend. So it's more like little obnoxious pranks, things when they make fun of Rhea. Like I said, like they're in the cafeteria having their lunch, and she will make their milk sour or nice and chunky when they try and drink it, that kind of stuff. But there's not a whole lot of specifics about what she's been doing, but that catches your eye of something that you didn't really think too much of, because of the fact that she is using what would be considered, again, old magic, what would be sort of like witchcraft, hexes, and those types of things, but nothing seemingly dangerous. And for those of you that would like to pay attention to the puppy, you guys can roll your animal handling.
Well, I'll probably do the animal friendship just to give people a hand.
Well,
Like, are you kidding me? It's like the only thing Signa would be focusing on at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll give it a go as well.
The robot really likes the puppy.
I got 24.
Well, it doesn't have to be that I really like it, but it likes me at least.
So yeah, you guys are doing pretty well of connecting to, and then having the wolf connect to you. So again, you're it's kind of a wait and see game at this point to find out what kind of wolf this actually is. You did notice that it did have a slightly different color than the wolves that you killed. It is a lighter color. But yeah, you guys, if you want to you don't have to do it. You can do it between now and the next game. If you want to come up with a name for this female wolf.
It.
Yes. So if you want, everybody can roll one more animal handling, and then we will have you reach the outpost. Wow. A 0.
Man, that dog don't like me.
23.
So a little bit less. So you guys are getting a little tired from the road. But yeah. And you're taking time occasionally, since you're walking quite a bit. Sometimes you'll carry it with you, and then other times, it'll trot along behind you. And then sometimes you pick it up because it's still a puppy, and it's not gonna walk as fast as the rest of you. So you'll see the little hoppy dogs, when they try and catch up, and it's very, very adorable.
Yeah, I just like the idea of Arvid walking along with a wolf pup on the top of his head.
Yes. So I would say, yeah, and then it beat. If you want to do a little bit more of investigative work, I guess, towards the animal, you could do. Well, and honestly, I'll just keep animal handling. You could do nature if you wanted to, but animal handling is fine. So between all of you, you would guess that it's probably about 6 to 8 months old.
Okay. So, yeah, it's still probably chewing a lot.
So, rather than start the whole scenario there, because it might take a little bit more time, and I did want to stop by 10 just so that if anybody wanted to watch the beginning of session or see.
Oh shit! I forgot that started at 10. I thought it was earlier for some reason.
No, it starts. It starts at 7 for them on
Yeah.
the West Coast. But if anybody, because I probably won't be able to stay up and watch the whole thing, but I was curious to at least, have the
Character introductions.
character introduction.
Yeah.
So we will stop here and then